Welcome back. I made a slight error in judgment when stopping the recording of my last video, which immediately went to work encoding the draft section and didn't let me start recording for the start of deck building. Although it turns out I've actually got plenty of time, so I needn't have rushed to build a deck. So I've already laid out what I intend to play here. So I think I'll go over how I think this deck should look. I think I'll start with the cards I left out. I left out Izuri and like Boulder Beast and these random cards because they're basically not poisonous. Copperhorn Scout's just not very good. Wing Puncture is definitely a sideboard card. Again, this Relic Putrescence. I don't even know. I haven't actually properly read it before. I just know that it's not really what I want to be doing in a poison deck. I guess there are some situations where it would be pretty funny to have, but it's it's just generally not very good, and most people know this already. Corrupted Harvester, I've seen Tainted Strike people to death, but I neither have the Tainted Strikes or the need to play a gigantic guy which only combos with one other card. The debatable cards that most people will mention is the Vector Asp, which I've left in the sideboard. Simply, like I mentioned before, it while it is cheap, it does not naturally have Infect. So if I'm hoping to make a 2-drop and a 3-drop and 4-drop, which is really what I want to do, and while I understand it doesn't happen every game, if I have a Vector Asp in there, it makes it less likely that I'm going to have the correct cards to A, do that, and B, if I do have that curve, Vector Asp never poisons anyone. So even though it is poisonous, I generally count it as being reasonably unplayable, despite the fact that I have a double Throne of Geth down here. I left the Nihil Spellbombs off to the side, again despite the 2 Throne of Geths, because I think they're just generally better than every other card, worse than every other card in the deck, sorry. Things, they could well come in as well as other cards, depending on what matchup I'm facing. For example, against another poison deck, I'm not going to want to have Withstand Death in my deck. However, against most opponents, I like having a Withstand Death because it helps you when your opponents are banking on something like a Galvanic Blast to kill a Contagious Nim or a Tel'Jalad Fallen. Even if your opponents hope to gang block a Tangle Angler or similar, being able to withstand death it and swing in again next turn with all of their blockers being angled is really good. I don't think anything is entirely controversial here. Fume Spitter, I like to slow down your opponents, and also good against other poison decks with their 2-drops. I think these guys are fairly self-explanatory. Blackleaf Goblin, while I don't like it, but it can help steal wins, which is generally what the poison deck ends up doing. Bellowing Tangleworm is probably the most controversial card here, I guess, since it does not actually have poison itself. However, I like how it interacts with Zispearer and Blight Mama and Tel'Jalad Fallen. To a less extent Tangle Angler, because quite often you want you want their guys to be able to block. But well, I mean honestly, I'm still wavering a little on that guy, and it's possible that maybe I don't need that guy, considering I don't have any way to give him poison either, and he is literally my only damage creature other than Fume Spitter. But I wanted to give him a shot just to see how it is, and it's entirely possible that I'm straight up wrong and should be playing some other card instead. I'm playing 2 Throne of Geths, not because I have massive amounts of stuff I want to sacrifice, but just being able to sacrifice a couple of things usually gets there, and if I have multiples of them, then that works out alright. So I was momentarily distracted there. I didn't actually see what it said. It's suggesting more forests and swamps, which, while I have a bunch of green cards, I I actually want to keep it even because it seems equally important to have each color on the early turns. I only have the Fallen is double green, and these are, well, and this I guess, and these are late game. So I really hope I would have a green mana by that point in the game. So 8 and 8 seems fine.